Hey YouTube, it's JP Dillon. Today we're looking at a 1981 Hitachi color TV model CT-1914. This belongs to my wife. This was a television that she grew up with. Her grandparents bought it brand new, and she remembers many fond childhoods of watching television after school on this very set. Now, this set hasn't been in use in probably 25 years. It's been sitting in storage, and it's got a fair amount of fine dust on it. But what we're going to do today is crack it open, see if it needs anything, and then check it out and do some adjustments on it and see if we can't bring it back to life. So let's go ahead and get the back off of it and check out the insides and what we're looking at. Alright, so here it is with the back cover off. There's not a lot to this set. It's pretty simple. And if we move over here, we see that it uses a Varactor style tuner. There's your tuner control board. There's the control panel for the presets. Not a whole lot to that. Typically these don't need a bunch of resoldering on the tuner like many GE and RCA counterparts do at the same time. And here we have our neck board, which actually looks pretty good. Let's see if we can adjust our brightness a little bit here. Yeah, soldering on this looks pretty good. No cracked joints or anything. It does have quite a bit of dust on the main board, but the main board's pretty simple. You've got a horizontal output here. I think this is your vertical output. You've got a choke down here, main power supply cap. It is very dusty. Let's see if we can take a look over here. Let me get this off the mount, make it a little easier on me. Actually, this is probably your horizontal output there. And it's got one of those modules. Yeah, it's your probably your vertical output right there. It's a module. So what is this then? Is this a triac? That's probably a triac. They're probably using that to power the set. Let's see if I can get a better glimpse of it over here. Let's get the dust off. Yeah, that's a triac. Okay, so they power the set with a triac instead of a direct power switch, and that would make sense. I don't know, but that's a real power switch. That looks like about a 3 or 5 amp jobber. So I wonder what you really do. Maybe you regulate. Who knows? I don't have a schematic handy on this one. But that's our innards. And it's an inline gun with a single control grid and a single screen grid. Separate cathodes. 19 VSK P22. I'm surprised it's not a Japanese number, since this is a Japanese set. So let's take a look at the bottom side of the board. And we do see some darkening over here by the horizontal oscillator, because I think that's what that is. It might be vertical output too. But the soldering's still holding up. It's not crystallized, it's not crummy looking. I mean, I might touch up some of these joints here just because. Got some factory modifications here. Unless somebody just got lazy and they soldered it from the bottom side. Yep, I think they got lazy. This was fixed before. Whoever fixed it just soldered components from the bottom side. See, soldering on the flyback looks pretty good. So yeah, this looks decent. A little bit of touch-up work here. I think I will test some of these capacitors here, the power supply and sweep circuits. These do not have Matsushita disease, the Matsushita caps that love to pee everywhere. That's good. So I think what I'll do is do some light resoldering here where the discolorations are, just as a precaution. Check a few caps. I don't know if I have a Beltron adapter for this, so Interesting that they take the flyback and attach it there. That's definitely a repair. That was shoddily done. Look at that. Well, it's okay. It is soldered. It's not fraying apart. I'm just not thrilled about that. And coming over here, it's obviously a high focus voltage tube. I mean, the soldering's not terrible. Maybe I'll touch up these guys here just because. Alright, so let's get to soldering on that area there. Okie dokie. I'm just going to touch up this stuff here. Get in the way of everybody. Just doing this as kind of a precautionary measure because obviously there's been high amounts of heat here, and although the soldering still looks okay, it's a good idea to be on the safe side and just redo it anyways. If it were an area of non-high heat, I wouldn't really care as much. Like this big dropper resistor over here. Somebody soldered on that, big blobs there. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot that this thing really needs. Looks pretty decent. Yeah, alright. Not a whole lot else that needs to be done there. I think we'll get the ESR meter and just do some basic checks on these power supply caps. Alright, so I'm just going to check a few of these critical ones here. The key's okay. This one here between these two, that's pretty dead. Let's mark that. Since that's next to the vertical output, that may be affecting centering or size. And let's see, what else here? You're pretty good. Yep. Some of these are a little tired, but let's see. You're pretty dead. Is that even still there? Or is that just a blank spot on the board? Yeah, there's nothing. Doesn't check there. Let me get another light on that because I can't really see with the camera light in my face. Yeah, that's a blank spot there. There's nothing tied there. And let's look over here to this guy. You're pretty dead. So basically, so far, everywhere around this section of heat, the capacitors check poorly. Like this one here next to this IC is okay. Let's see, that's critical size. Let's see what else here. Come on. That's a little tired. There's also a cold solder joint there too. Yeah, you're a little tired. So I'm going to mark that one too, just for grins and giggles. Come over here to this one. That's pretty tired. So it looks like we're going to be replacing some caps. Let's see, who else? Let's see, you got this one over here by the sweep. That still checks okay. That's pretty dead. What is that? Yeah, you're right next to that module there. That capacitor test is very dead. So we'll mark that as well. Okay. Let's see if there's any other crucial sweep or high voltage things. I think I already checked this one down here. Yeah, you're okay. Alright, so I'm going to change all these ones that I found in the sweep section that are defective. The ones over here in the power supply, there's this main power supply cap that's definitely not happy. And then there's this other one. Let's see, this main one checks okay, but this one here in the regulator is just absolutely open. So we'll change that. You probably can't see what I'm doing off camera here. Anyway, cap's over there. That's absolutely dead. So I'm going to change these caps, and then once we get done with that, I'll fire it up, and we'll see where we're at as far as the condition of things. Alright, so I've changed out all of our bad capacitors, the ones that I was able to find that were outright defective. And there's some power supply stuff, B filters and things. I dusted the chassis, so now we're just going to plug it in and see what we get on the screen, if anything, what it does, to help us better assess where to go next with it. It may have a dead CRT, it may have another problem we're unaware of. I just wanted to replace the obviously dead parts before we went any further, kind of as a safety precaution. But given the fact that a lot of parts were killed from heat, this could be a very high hour set with a dead CRT. It could be a good CRT, we really don't know. So the next thing we're going to do is fire it up and see if it flies or if it fries. So here's the infamous moment of truth. Let's see if it fires up or if it dies horribly. It's doing an auto scan because there's no antenna attached. So we've got a pretty badly magnetized CRT. You can see it's very blotchy. Unfortunately, it's also very dim. But it did come up all three guns, which is good. Let's see if there's a secret door here. That's just for the tuner. I guess all the controls here are underneath. That's as bright as it gets. Oh boy. And the contrast is all the way up. Yeah, that's not good either. Not good. Yeah, it's starting to improve a little bit, but that's max brightness, and this is a normally lit room. That's really weak. So let's get a signal hooked up to it and see what it looks like then. Alright, let's adjust our vertical. So this is kind of an example of a very dead CRT. You can see the picture is very washed out. It doesn't get very brighter without fuzzing out. It's very washed out and ugly looking. This is kind of what I was worried about, because this is obviously a very high hour set. And if you crank the brightness up, it just washes out more. Let's see what our color is going to look like garbage because the CRT needs to be demagnetized. Well, in fact, at the moment, I don't have any color. Let's make sure this is not a function of fine-tuning. There we go. Let's turn the AFC off.
Here's something to chew on. Are you ready for the most scrumptious gummy vitamin with extraordinary flavor?
The color is really weak too, but that could be a function of the tuner.
Vitafusion gummy vitamins, something worth chewing on. Fox 5 Morning News, sponsored by First 5 of San Diego.
Everybody in San Diego knows, if you get injured, you can either get screwed or get Ross. It's so easy. 855-GET-ROSS.
855-GET-ROSS. Call 855-GET-ROSS. They have real trial attorneys.
And let's turn off our automatic color.
Real justice.
855-GET-ROSS. What are you waiting for? Get Ross. Call 855-GET-ROSS. Injured? Call 855.
Yeah, so
right now.
the CRT is in pretty sad shape. I think what I'm going to do next is dig up a adapter for my Beltron, and we'll put it on the Beltron and maybe see if we can wake it up a little bit, because right now this is awful. And I'll need to get my degaussing coil so that we can degauss the thing, but right now this just looks hideous. The colors are all washed out. It's blurry. I mean, I can try and adjust the focus a little bit, but it really doesn't make any changes. This may clear up after we demagnetize it and give it a little magic of the Beltron, but so far the CRT is shot. So we'll get an adapter on this thing and see if we can test it and then go from there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to degauss the set. Here's my degaussing coil. You can still buy these online. They're not impossible to find. And we're going to turn the set on so you can kind of see the reaction, the difference here. Of course, that helps if I turn the converter box on. Alright, so we got a black and white picture. Let's see if we can find something color so you can see how distorted the colors look. Very faded, very ugly. So we're going to go ahead and degauss it. And I'm going to start right near here in a circular pattern. And we're going to slowly back away from it. As we're going in our pattern, we're going to go to a corner that's most contaminated. And we get far enough away, we'll de-energize the coil. So we can see the colors are still pretty ugly. Even with the color cranked all the way up. It's pretty weak, and we're still not getting much more brightness. We just get a big fuzzy defocused picture. So again, we got color purity now, although it's pretty weak. The CRT is just really tired. So now what let's do is let's get it on a CRT tester and see what condition it's in. Now this has got the new style inline tube with the tiny guns. So we're going to need to find a socket that'll work for that. And I don't know if I have one of those for the Beltron. I might have to whip out the CR7000. Let's see what I got. Alright, so I've got this BR26. The camera will focus on that. That looks like that might work. But we won't really know until we plug the tester in. So So let's get this thing plugged in. And I have no idea if this is going to work or not. We'll find out. Well, it loads the filament, so that's a good sign. Let's see if we can get it to register here. Now green comes up right away. Red's a little tired and blue's a little tired. So we go down to 5 volts. We can see that the red and the green start to fall off, or excuse me, the red and the blue start to fall off a lot. The green's still holding strong though. So let's go ahead and give it a little cleaning action. Oh yeah, that makes it happy. Yeah, let's go up in voltage a little bit. Let's get it up to about 9 volts. Oh yeah. Arky Sparky. Alright. That certainly makes it happier. Let's go down to 5 volts again. No fall off, that's good. All 3 cleaning lights come up. That blue likes to flicker a little bit. Alright. Let's go ahead and do a live test interrupt switch here. Blue still falls off pretty fast. Green's the last one to go. That's definitely reflected in the initial tests. But it all seems to clean up well. So this one was tired. Perhaps not as tired as the RCA one we did a while back. But it performs well enough that I think that we can deal with it. The blue and red fall off pretty fast. But they all come back up really good. Alright, so now that we've given the CRT a little bit of a treatment, let's do the setup adjustments on it and see how good we can get the picture. Alright, so now rejuvenated, we'll get the moment of truth here to see if it's helped it at all or not. I'm going to turn on my signal generator and we're going to do a very basic crosshatch. All my instruments are set to channel 4 around here because we have interference from Mexico on channel 3. So you can see after the rejuve, we still got some color impurity here. That's probably because I moved it, but we can fix that. Let's go ahead and plug in our degaussing coil again. Still got that little bit of stain there. That could just be a function of position. Alright, so now we got a green screen. Let's see, we got our a little more brightness there. You can definitely see the impurity there. Let's see if I move this a little bit, if that affects it at all. Not really. Yeah, it doesn't really affect it. Let's give it another jolt here. Yeah, this thing's badly magnetized. I wonder if the shield's magnetized too. Yep, there's always that spot there. So I may need to come up with some sort of corrective magnets. But anyways, let's go back down to mid brightness here. You can see that's barely visible. And so, let's see. We're going to set our drives to minimum. Those are cranked all the way up. And we're going to start here. Green's obviously going to be our strongest candidate. Start with red. Then we'll do blue. And we'll bring the green back up. That's pretty good. That's looking black and white. Adjust our screen a little bit. Okay. And I'm looking at this greenish line here. We're going to adjust our drives. And so when I crank up the blue drive, we're going to see a little bit of that. Try to make that line as gray looking as possible. Let's go to a regular crosshatch. Super fine. Let's turn our contrast up. Focus looks a lot better now and I rejuve the tube. Let's see if we can dial that in a little better. I can definitely see the scan lines now. Couldn't before. Okay, got a little bit of convergence error up here, but I'm not too worried about that. The purity stain is really the bigger problem. I may try demagnetizing the shield, taking it off the CRT at a later date if I can't use corrective magnets or something here. But let's turn our color. Let's see what our colors look like now. Not sure what this, oh, I guess that's the signal tracker thing. So we don't have a whole lot of range between color and no color, which is weird. Let's see if that's a tuner issue. Might be a tuner issue. No, that just kind of is how it is. Let's make sure there's no weird color lock thing. But that's the saturation, and that's as good as you get. It should be much brighter than that. The colors are kind of faded looking. I mean, the tint range is correct, but colors are very faded. So on a lot of these Hitachis, there's a sub-color adjustment that's in the back. Let me take a peek here and see if this one also possesses that. So far I'm not seeing a whole lot. Of course it is somewhat difficult to see here. There's AGC. There's your vertical adjustments. Size and centering. Okay, so there is a sub-color adjustment, or maybe that's contrast. I can only see sub and then CO, so I'm not sure which one of the options it is. So let me get a non-metallic tool, and we'll get back in here and see if adjusting this makes any kind of difference. It does. There we go. There's our excess saturation there. Let's make sure the tuner's dialed in right again. That's why I don't like these electronic tuning things. It keeps wanting to tune in the incorrect spot. All right. No tuner or volume memory on this, which is really an annoyance. And the AFT and the regular tuning don't want to agree. All right, but there we go. Let's see here. So our tint range really should be more like that. That's pretty close though. It's usually third bar is red, fourth bar is that. But really, flesh tones will give it away as to what it really is. Okay, so let's get a regular signal hooked up to it. That was just my generator timing out. It's only on for 5 minutes and then it turns itself off. So let me hook up the converter box. That's pretty bright. Alright, so now we've got a problem of a little bit of oversaturation. So let me adjust that subcolor again. Come on, show me somebody's face. Let's see now. Let's go to something else that's a little more useful. Yeah, the facial tones look much better. Why is that picture so soft though? Let's see if we got a...
During slavery, the slave patrols would make sure people have passes, making sure that they are not loitering.
Damn it, I did.
Getting together in bands of people.
I keep hitting that power button by accident.
Do the same type of thing.
You have people who are targeted because they've managed to acquire a decent amount of land, or their children are in school.
Okay, let's try not to hit that again.
Is struggling at the same.
This white stuff is called albumin. It's just a protein.
That contrast level is a little bit high for my taste.
And it's ugly. Yeah, so let's, all right, I'm gonna put this
But the facial,
out of our way.
the skin tones look good.
Whole side of salmon, it's 4 to 5 pounds. The belly fat
And that's with the,
is right along here. You want to get a piece that's of even
that's with the color at midpoint.
frame rate. That means you don't want a tail piece, you don't have tapers off at the end.
So that looks about normal.
I've got some ideas too.
So much brighter than it used to be. I've noticed that this set does not handle the modern text from the box very well. There's a little bit of saturation. Need to turn that down just a hair. That's pretty good. That's looking really good. So I just need to find a way to clear up that purity spot there at the corner. The picture also needs to be leveled a little bit. So there is an adjustment back here. Loosen the clamp on that and see if we can adjust this somewhat. Let's see. It's a little better. This one's pretty stuck to the yoke, so it doesn't want to move all that much. Let me just tighten that down. But other than the purity error at the bottom right there, it looks pretty good. Grayscale looks good.
We got phone call.
I'm sure the glare is messing it up some. Let's see if I can change the angle of the camera a little bit here. Gotta love digital.
Now restarting from scratch. Earlier this week, a state agency told city officials that the deal likely violates
Much better.
the Land Act
Okay, so
back in 2019.
I'm going to reassemble this thing because otherwise it's done.
Offer to affordable
I'm going to try to demagnetize the screen a little bit better. It's getting better little by little.
in the Midway District. Mayor
But the colors and everything look good. It's so much brighter.
It just doesn't stop the heat. The one place that it's not just blazing
But
hot,
yeah, I'm liking it.
and poor Jeff, he was talking about how
Definitely need to burn it in some and just see how stable it is. But
or at least the
repairs and such went over well.
sending it to webcam YouTube channel
I
and
got plenty of brightness now, and it doesn't defocus when I crank the brightness up.
in the ocean. So we have some low clouds, we have some mid-level clouds, and some rain coming out of them. Low clouds.
I'm not sure if there's anything I can do about the
Precipitation in them.
preset tuning
Or
and whatnot other than setting the box to channel 3.
visible satellite
But then I think we have
what's going on
an interference problem.
here as well, and some blips on the radar.
Let's see here.
Radar look here. Last 6 hours, it's mostly Valley Center, maybe getting into Julian, but yeah, getting up into Bonsall and Rainbow and Fallbrook. But just
Nope, that's not it.
you can smell the tropical raindrops and whether or not they're hitting the
Trying to see if there's a way to
that was
set this up for channel 3 output. I forget.
in the warnings around the west. It's hot.
Channel edit.
For all of us. Excessive heat warnings extended. So the
Service maybe?
warning for the desert that
Preferences.
on Sunday night. Excessive heat warning
Nope, that's just for closed captioning.
extended until Sunday night, and the inland valleys.
Maybe there's a switch on the back. That's probably it.
36 in the
Well, anyways, that's for another moment.
109
I'm going to reassemble it and then do a final degauss, and we'll take a look at it again.
54 degrees right now.
It's your muse. It's your smart.
So I switched it over to channel 3 on the box.
The Hyundai Sonata and Elantra. Hey,
So that way it just comes right up.
own it. Get 0% APR for 60 months on the Elantra or
And
Sonata.
the purity problem seems to have corrected itself down here, so I guess it was just a matter of a position
Serving our
where it
community.
was
That's
on
what
the
Rubicon Deli has done for over a
pole
decade.
axis.
That's why we are offering 20% off catered lunches of 10 or more. Take care of those you love.
The sound comes up really loud. I wonder if there's a way to change that.
To order for safe, easy pickup.
But so far, I'm liking it. It's got a nice sharp picture on it. It looks good. Colors are right. Although I've always noticed that on Hitachi sets, the greens always look a little more brownish. Not sure why that is. Black and white looks really clean.
Think of it this way. When someone says they're going to take...
Morning, Mom. Can I go?
Among the dozens of victims who testified, work than flavor work.
And this one I enjoy.
So yeah, so far, I'm liking it.
I can make friends by sharing my weird food.
Con llamadas y textos y... una forma de ayudar a cubrir los gastos. Cuando digas... Tú eres al que tiene... ¿Sal al agua? Vamos a ver. Live at 8 Eastern tonight on Fox.
Alright, so that'll about do it for this set. Let me see if I can get it to change the exposure a little bit so you can see.
Great start with some fun events around town.
We're going to have problems with
So hopefully some of those
blanking.
Some of them. Actually, I'm not sure. I think one of them might.
But it looks pretty good. I like it.
Strawberry Festival probably does it.
So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this little repair video. More stuff to come down the road.